Good afternoon, Island Heights, Ocean Gate, whoever's out there watching. Mr. L here, Island Heights Grade School Gym, working on some different movements and hopefully giving you a good explanation, a good demonstration of how to play a game that I know a lot of you really enjoy. And once I talk about it, I'm sure you'll remember it. All right. So the first thing I want to do is I just want to review um, galloping, sliding, and walking backwards, and then I'm going to show you the game. All right. So first thing we're going to do. Oh, as always, remember, super duper important. I would recommend sneakers for doing any kind of PE videos. It makes it so much easier to move. I would not wear your tightest skinny jeans because that would make it very difficult to skip and slide and things like that. Also, make sure you're in a safe place. If it's in your house, somewhere where things won't get knocked over, crashed into, you might trip on and get hurt, hit mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, aunt, uncle, brother, sister. You don't want to trip on the dog and hurt them. You don't want to trip on the cat and hurt them. You don't want to trip on the guinea pig and hurt them. You don't want to trip on the elephant's trunk. All right? They might stomp on you. You don't want to wake up the dinosaur. Make sure you're in a safe place. I would say outside if possible. Also, make sure mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, aunt, uncle, older brother or sister, whoever you're with, know you're doing this. If you're outside or inside, make sure they know you're doing these videos and this PE work somewhere safe. All right? So we are going to start with sliding. We're going to go over sliding again. So I back up so you can see my feet. Remember, when we slide, it is step next to. Woo, it's easy McWeezy. The dust. Step next to, step next to, step next to. Notice how my knees are bent. My knees are bent. And yet we're not standing like robots. This is not sliding. This is like waddling, like a penguin. Sliding is step next to, step next to, step next to. Remember, you don't want to kick your heels together. This is not sliding. That's trying to get home to Kansas like Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz. You also don't want to cross your feet because you could kick your foot and fall down. All right, so when you slide, you start with your feet apart and it's step away, together, next to, step, next to. Notice there's a gap. My feet aren't right next to each other because then I'm like, whoa, tip over and fall. Like a tree in the wind. Whoa. All right? Step next to, step next to, step next to. If you want to go faster, it's all right, back and forth. All right? Galloping now. We'll review galloping. One foot stays in front the entire time. And it's step, drag behind. Step, drag behind. Step, drag behind. Step, drag behind. I'll switch feet so you see. One foot stays in front the whole time. Step, drag behind. Step, drag behind. Step, drag behind. Step, drag behind. All right? A little faster. Bending that knee. All right? Step, drag behind. Step, drag behind. Step, drag behind. You should not be kicking your foot. That's not galloping. That's kicking your foot. Step, drag. All right? So that was sliding and galloping. Now, walking backwards. Yes, you're moving slow, but it is still a difficult skill for some people. All right? So I'm looking at the cones here, and I'm going to be walking in that direction. When I walk backwards, it should be toes first, then heel. 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 All right, I'm going to turn going too fast, and you might fall backwards, which too many boys and girls do when they're walking backwards. It's super important that you go toes first, and then heel to keep your balance. Toes first, then heel. Toes first, then heel. Toes first, heel. Toes first, heel. Toes first, heel. Alright? We're going to keep working on this one. I was doing something incorrect. So when you walk backwards, it's super duper important that you look over your shoulder. Believe it or not, this is not walking backwards. This is just looking over our shoulder. When we walk backwards, you have to look behind you over your shoulder. So you have to turn your head and go toe, heel, toe, heel, toe, heel. You can switch what side you look over. Toe, heel, toe, heel, toe, heel. So you can get which way you like to look better. That's fine. So you're looking toe, heel, toe, heel, toe, heel, toe, heel, toe, heel, toe, heel, toe, heel. All right. So those were just some of the movements we did from the other day. Last time we reviewed what we did the time before. Now we reviewed walking backwards, galloping, and sliding. All right? So now I'm going to try to explain and give you a demonstration of a game that I know we all know. Some of us might not because we're new to my class. All right, so I'm gonna try to explain what time is it, Mr. Fox. All right, it's a game where you work on your locomotor skills and still have a lot of fun, not even knowing you're working on them. So to start, you choose someone to be Mr. Fox. That will be me. I will be Mr. Fox in this video. The other player will be that chair with cones on it. That will be the other player because no one else is here with me. But at home, you can have someone be Mr. Fox and you can be the other player. All right? Make sure you're starting and giving yourself space. Make sure it's somewhere super safe. So I would say outside for this game because there is some running involved. I don't want you running in the house, crashing into something, getting hurt. So I would say outside, maybe in a field, in your backyard if you got some space, or go down to the field. Just move around. Make sure you're staying safe, keeping your distance, things like that. All right, so in this game, I will be Mr. Fox. The chair with cones here will be the player. The player will not move in this video. I will do my best. All right, so in this video, the chair is the other person. They will be moving with me. I will be pulling that rope, so they move with me so you guys understand what to do. All right? The person who is Mr. Fox is in control of the game. They will say 1, 2, 3, and then my chair friend would say, "What time is it, Mr. Fox?" And I would say, "It's time for 3 slides." And we would slide in the same direction. All right? Once you see it, most of you will probably remember it. Hopefully you can remember enough to play it. So I'm going to try to give you a demonstration of how it goes so we understand. All right, I'm going to do my best with what I have. It works better with at least two people, one person who is Mr. Fox and one person who is the other player. So I'm going to give it a shot here. So bear with me. All right, so I say 1, Mr. Fox says 1, 2, 3. The chair says, "What time is it, Mr. Fox?" I say it's time for 2 skips. And then we would both skip in the same direction. 1, 2. And then we stop. And then I say 1, 2, 3. What time is it, Mr. Fox? It's time for 3 slides. We turn and slide. 1, 2, 3. And then I say 1, 2, 3. They say, what time is it, Mr. Fox? I turn around and say dinner time. And I run to try to chase the chair. I chase them. Oh, but they get back to where they started. So they're safe. Alright? So we play another round. Alright? Change up your locomotor movements if you are Mr. Fox. Change them up every time. Alright? So I say 1, 2, 3. What time is it, Mr. Fox? It's time for 2 jumps. Remember, jumps are 2 feet. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. What time is it, Mr. Fox? It's time for 2 gallops. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. What time is it, Mr. Fox? I turn around and I say, dinner time. I run. They try to get away. Oh, but I catch them. I tag them. Alright? So, they got tagged. They have to do 3 jumps. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and we start a new round. I'll do one more demonstration, and then it'll be on you guys to try to figure it out. Hopefully this works for you, and hopefully it was worth it. So I say 1, 2, 3. What time is it, Mr. Fox? It's time for 2 hops. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. What time is it, Mr. Fox? It's time for 1 jump. 1. 1, 2, 3. What time is it, Mr. Fox? It's time for 2 gallops. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. What time is it, Mr. Fox? Dinner time! Oh, they ran away. They're so fast. They got away safe. They got away safe. All right? So hopefully that helped. The demonstration, it was a little silly with me and the chair, but hopefully you can understand it. Remember, Mr. Fox starts with his back to everybody. When they turn around and say dinner time, that is when you run away. All right? Try the game, have some fun. If you get tagged, it's not the end of the world. 3 jumps really isn't going to make or break you guys. I just wanted to have some fun. Focus in on your locomotor movements. It's important that you're doing them correctly, not just trying to get on top of Mr. Fox, to get close, to see how fast you can run. Try your best to do the locomotor movements correctly so we can keep building and keep getting better. That's all we're trying to do, is get better, have fun, stay healthy, stay active.